Welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for the race meeting at the Vaal on Tuesday, the 15th of April. We have a 10-race program, so a full day's racing and a nice early start with the opener off at 11:45. And as always for race meetings on the Highveld and at the Vaal, we welcome on the line Alistair Cohen. Morning, Alistair. How's it going? And first off, a word about the weather that we can expect on Tuesdays. Everybody knows we record this early on a Monday morning.
Yeah, good morning, Graham. Yeah, you found me well. I took the easy road out on Sunday night while everyone was watching the golf. I intended to, but being married to a trainer, early nights and early mornings are part of the trade. But obviously caught up on Rory's magnificent Grand Slam victory, or Masters victory, that's given him a Grand Slam with all four majors. So I think a wonderful moment for golf. And what I like about this week, just to quickly change direction and go into racing, what I like about this week, and for obvious reasons and for well-documented reasons, we haven't had much racing through April. 10 races Tuesday, 10 races Hollywoodbets Kenilworth Wednesday, 11 races at the Vaal on Thursday, a double header on Friday. So it's a feast of racing to come. Now we're in some sort of racing routine and looking forward to it, obviously on the back of the World Sports Betting Sledgehammer at Hollywoodbets Scottsville a day earlier. So champion season is just around the corner. Hollywoodbets Durbanville, July nominations are just around the corner as well. So excitement's building, Graham. And as for the weather, I believe it's good weather in Johannesburg at the moment. There is a little forecast of rain for the next couple of days. So hopefully we're not reaching for umbrellas through the day at the Vaal on Tuesday. But I think there's a desperation to hold race meetings on the Highveld. It's been, dare I say, use the word starvation of racing on the Highveld of late. So hopefully we're able to get through this unscathed.
I'm sure we will, and as you say, there's been a starvation of racing. I didn't take the easy way out. I was up until 2:30, late into early Monday morning, 4 hours sleep, and now recording this show. So if I doze off, just forgive me, but I'll try my best to stay awake. The first race, Alistair, 11:45, maiden juvenile plate. They go 1,700 meters, which is interesting. We have an overwhelming favourite in the form of number 3, Ideal Summer, at 1-3. In my opinion, it deserves to be an overwhelming favourite. 4 Bold Action at 5-1, 5 Ethical at 5-1, 25-1, and Better bar the top 3. Is this the best bet of the week?
I'd fall short of saying best bet of the week, Graham, but a very, very hard horse to beat in this race. His run to Whispering Death, who the De Kock barn have obviously gone through the divisions with getting beaten on debut by a nice horse in the form of Tenjico, and then going bang, bang, and Whispering Death was an overwhelming favourite on Champions Day in the third leg of the championships to win, and Ideal Summer pressed him and gave him something to think about, and Ideal Summer just looks ready to win now. The draw's obviously not ideal, but Alec Led's yards in good form. Kelvin Habib takes her on, the son of Ideal World. Being by Ideal World, there's no surprise to see him tested over this distance so early, and I think that he'll be a very hard horse to beat. On the subject of number 5, Ethical, got to give her a mention. She's a nice filly. Her debut, she sat on very strongly behind Sister Golden Hair. Second and third place horses are horses that are above average according to their yards. But I think that this run might be one run premature before we see her in the middle in the winner's enclosure. Certainly at the expense of number 3, Ideal Summer. So 3 from 5 to kick things off. 3 very hard horse to beat. Deserves his place at the top of the boards. Although the yard would take a win from Ethical with both hands, we'd be surprised to see her turn over Ideal Summer here and now.
So there we go, race 1, maiden juvenile plate over 1,700 meters, being a 10-race card, of course. The first race does not form part of the exotics, but race 2 certainly does. It's a maiden plate over 1,000 meters, off at 12:20. There's been some early money for the newcomer, number 12, Woensdag Courant, a 2-year-old son of Talk of the Town. That has found anti-post betting support. 1 Inspector James is at 4-1. 2 Elysian Bow is at 5-2. Just to mention that number 4, Asian Delight, does race with the Alamites. Appropriately enough, number 10, Carlfoot, The Alamites come off, so he races unshod. And as I mentioned, number 12, Woensdag Courant is at 5-2. Panning Silver, number 8, 11-2. 9, Force Publique at 7-1. A couple of newcomers to muddy the waters for the opening leg of the bipod, Alistair. Any word on the ground about number 12, Woensdag Courant, who hails from the Lucky Houdelakis yard, and Craig Zaki is a significant jockey engagement?
I think the only hint we got here, Graham, is the early money on number 12, Woensdag Courant. And a high number draw down the Vaal Classic straight is golden. Lucky Houdelakis is known to, he can get them ready when he needs to. First up, and with Craig Zaki's engagement, that does speak volumes, especially with the fact that the stable companion does genetically make quite a lot of appeal, being by Quarari, out-and-out speed, good 2-year-old forward type of nature, out of a Captain Almere as well. And the fact that there seems to be an early swing towards number 12, Woensdag Courant, that might be the clue that you need, because the race runner's form here, Graham, is very shallow indeed. If you use the hemisphere form at face value and then its personal form at face value, between numbers 1, 2 and 3, they're all kind of beating each other. 2 Elysian both finished in front of number 3 Ringo when they met behind hemisphere, and then Ringo finished in front of Inspector James when they met behind its personal. However, you could make the argument that number 1 Inspector James, coming back from a 6-month layoff, might have needed it and might have a little bit more in the tank. So I'm not convinced that a 22-start maiden, the former number 3 Ringo, holds the key in this particular race, yet he is an important horse to figuring out what's going to happen here. So it won't take much winning. Number 7, Mistakes, also got to come into the reckoning. Surprised to see him with a name like that going back to 1,000 meters, having not shown any pace first up, and taking the draw. Number 1, 8 Panning Silver, had valid excuses last time. Bland Ambition won by, I think, nearly double figures. The first run was good, the second run was awful. With the Apprentice allowance, not impossible that she runs a better race, but there's too many question marks about all this form on offer, Graham, and if there is a follow-through on number 12, Woensdag Courant, that could be the clue that you need, that he is the right one in race number 2. I think both of Lucky's horses are worth including into the bar pots. If you're not one that presses the first-timers and thinks that there might be a race runner that is worth having a look at, that could hold the aces, I'd probably lean towards number 1, Inspector James, just with that run under the belt. But I wouldn't be singing from the rooftops about him or any of the race runners in this race.
Competitive start to the bipot. Place accumulator, though, perhaps an easier start. The maiden played for fillies and mares over 1,000 metres, off at 12.55. Number 1, Desert Cloud, is at 5-2. Number 2, Pantheria Uncia, is at 15-2. 5, Bilingual at 17-2. 8, Captain Selvi, 33-10. And a little bit of early money for the favourite, number 10, Quiet Winter. That's into 2-1 off the back of a promising debut behind Little Miss Splendid. So those are the ones in single figures. Number 7, Dance Monkey, the tongue tie comes off. Now, I've had a sneak peek at your suggested bet, which is the place accumulator. Opens up with 3 consecutive bankers in races 3, 4 and 5. And here you've gone for number 1, Desert Cloud.
Yeah, Graham, if she doesn't win, she should run into the top 3. We were fairly crestfallen, actually got rolled last time over 1,200 metres, but you could put it down to the fact it was her first time around the turn, first time over 1,200 metres, back from a little bit of break with all the rain around. It wasn't easy getting her fit. Now that she's in more of a racing routine and back to basics, back to 1,000 metres, that this could be the time to strike for number 1, Desert Cloud. I have huge respect for all these youngsters that bring good runs into the picture. Number 8, Captain Selvi, and 10, Quiet Winter, and number 9, 8 Hats. 9, 8 Hats. There we go. Got that one out. But I think number 1, Desert Cloud, she's in good shape, and from a place accumulator and bar pot perspective, be devastated if she's not in the top 2 at least. The form line of her last run is not working out to be great, to be fair. The only horse that's come out and done anything ran 6th. Take Your Best Shot ran 3rd in a very weak maiden, but it's the earlier form when she was in better shape than she was last time that probably stacks up as runs that you can just make a big case for her. So hoping that she can get into the number 1 box. If she doesn't, she should suffice in the bar pot and place accumulator. What just takes me off these other youngsters, Graham. First of all, we don't know when it's time to strike with the 2-year-olds against older opposition. There's such a small case study for these youngsters at the moment. They're only eligible to race against older opposition from the 1st of April. Due to the paucity of racing around the country, we haven't really bombed up enough statistics to see how these youngsters are going against the older horses just yet. I'm normally one who believes that they sort of come into their own mid-May, but that is just my opinion. That could be absolute hogwash. Going to Captain Selvi, related to the very good Almondsea, to 1,000 meters this time around. That would make some sort of appeal. She moved nasty through the gears first time out, and then just lacked a strong kick on a very wet track. That was the last race that they had at the Vaal on that occasion, so no surprise to see number 8, Captain Selvi, go pretty well. Number 9, 8 Hats, well beaten first up by Malibu. Malibu was supported to the exclusion of the others on that occasion, so let's see if there's any improvement there. And then number 10, Quiet Winter. Although Lucky Udalakis is formidable, especially at the Vaal, he's having a great run with 2 winners on Saturday. Little Miss Splendid didn't rip up any trees over the weekend. Second horse, Scarlet Heart, came out and ran 3rd behind Tin Pan Alley and Lava County. I don't know if that form line's good enough to win this. So number 10, Quiet Winter, despite having certainly having some scope to improve, I'm not a fan of that form line. So 1 and 8, the 2 to fight it out, but I'll lean towards number 1, Desert Cloud, as the right one.
Desert Cloud, the choice of Alistair Cohen from the Candace Dawson stable. A stable, of course, we know he's very close to. And as he was mentioning there, she's the 3-year-old up against a couple of 2-year-olds racing in open company. Now, race 4, first leg of the pick 6. What an interesting race. This race, the Pinnacle Stakes, over 1,200 metres, off at 13.30, sees the return of Cousin Casey. Yes, over 1,200 metres, but we last saw him on the 28th of July when running second behind Dave the King in the Champions Cup. Prior to that, of course, he ran second behind Oriental Charm in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. He's clearly starting off in this race to get him going, and hopefully for another successful campaign during Champion Season 2025. Just note the form update at this stage. I haven't heard that number 4, Ready to Charge, is a scratching. He ran over the weekend. Not only he ran over the weekend, he won over 1,000 metres, beating Cosmic Star by a neck. So they're betting 1 Cousin Casey 5 to 1, 2 Chocolate Soldier 28 to 10. Top of the boards, number 3, Quantum Theory, 18 to 10. 4, Ready to Charge, if he stands his ground, 6 to 1. 5, Danton from Santon, 4 to 1. 6, Passage of Power, 11 to 2. And the only one not considered in the market is number 7, Alone Time, at 40 to 1. So they're all in there with a shout. But once again, you've gone a place accumulator banker, as I mentioned, the opening 3 legs. And here you in the camp of number 3, Quantum Theory.
Yeah, because I think that he's nailed on to run into the top 3, but in the pick 6, Graham, I'd be a little bit uneasy to leave out number 1, Cousin Casey, even though he's likely to need the run, even though this is a prep run. He's good fresh, 6 starts straight off a break for 2 wins, 2 seconds and 2 thirds. And you'll be able to give a lot of recollections. I can only give a few. But a top horse returning from a break can win over any distance. We saw it just the other day with Barbaresco, and I'd venture to say that pound for pound, Cousin Casey's a better horse than Barbaresco. Let's not lose sight of the fact that this is undoubtedly a bigger picture from Sean Tarry. I'm pretty sure he'll leave a lot of meat on the bone. But it's just great to have a Grade 1 winner back on track. It's great to have last year's Hollywoodbets Durbanville runner-up back on track, and I'm sure that he'll have another tilt at Africa's greatest horse race. Be no surprise to see him in the list of entries in a week from now. So, yes, likely to need the run. Yes, there's a bigger picture, but class often rises to the top. The cream rises to the top, class often prevails. So number 1, Cousin Casey, would go into my pick 6. But as far as the place accumulator is concerned, I think number 3, Quantum Theory, just for his consistency, for his efforts that he puts in time and time again, for what he's achieved. He's a complete overachiever. Muzieni takes a ride for Robbie Sage. I thought it was a good run last time behind Mampalatus, coming off a mini break of around 77 days, carried in on a crucial stage, ended up towards the inside of runners, which is not where you want to be on a sticky track down the Turfentine stand-side track. Big chance, number 3, number 3, Quantum Theory, and I just think that he's nailed on to run into the first 3, so that's why I banked him in the place accumulator. There are a few here that would be surprise winners. I'll be surprised if Ready to Charge stood his ground. I'll be surprised if Chocolate Soldier gave weight away to Quantum Theory and finished in front of him, despite Chocolate Soldier's class, and I don't think Passage of Power and Alone Time are at this level.
So there we go. That's race 4. We all look forward to seeing Cousin Casey back in action, but the hopes are pinned on number 3, Quantum Theory. Race 5, first leg of Jackpot 1. It's a maiden plate over 1,800 metres, off at 2:05. Number 1, Gift of Royal, 33 to 10. Number 2, Blurred Vision at 7 to 1. Number 3, Brigham at 7 to 1. 4, Battle of the Bulge at 7 to 1. 33 to 10 about number 8, Future King. On top of the boards is number 9, Inclusion at 2 to 1. The scratching is number 11, Mrs. Wonderful, leaving us at this early stage with a field of 10 to contest this maiden over 1,800 metres. And note that number 6, Alakanani, will race without the cheek pieces. Take us through it, Alistair.
Well, this is where the straight line stuff ends, Graham, because from here the meeting well and truly opens up. The form behind Obsidian, I think, is a good place to start. Number 9, Inclusion by Master of My Fate, trained by Tyrone Zaki, ridden by Craig Zaki, who now takes over. When Tyrone sends his horses over an extended distance, generally watch out because he can get his horses seriously fit. He's very good with the stayers. On that last run behind Obsidian, finished in front of number 8, Future King, to the tune of, let's call it, 2.5 lengths. I see no reason for that to turn around here, Graham. So number 9, Inclusion, second run after quite a long break, would have been entitled to just need that run ever so slightly. A touch of support from last time. There was a scratching, but 25 to 1 to 8 to 1. That's not only deductions. I think number 9, Inclusion's pretty much at the right place now to just about get the job done. When you shop around, there's a lot of instant attraction form here, and number 1, Gift of Royal, is the best of that form, having finished 4th behind instant attraction. But a 12-start maiden, a little bit dicey about trusting his chances, but he could be sort of the next best as far as the pick 6 backup is concerned. I don't like the form behind Page Boy that number 3, Brigham, brings in, but he's got blinkers on for the first time, so there might be a little bit of improvement to come. The full set of Alamout's come off, and Alamout's front unshod behind. He's carded to run in. He's drawn in gate number 1, so let's see how he goes. But I think as far as the PA is concerned, number 9, Inclusion, shouldn't miss the top 3, and I'm happy to suggest him as a potential all-to-come inclusion.
So there we go. From here on in to the end of the 10-race card, it gets somewhat more complicated. So a lot of confidence coming through from Alistair Cohen over the first half of the program. But let's get into race 6, which is a MR96 handicap over 1,800 metres. The betting tells a story. They're betting 5 to 1 the field. Alistair's gone with 7 horses in the place accumulator. So very clearly it's wide open. Alistair, there's one horse that I noted you haven't included in your list of 7, which caught my eye because of the course form and the fact that they've added cheek pieces to his equipment. He's currently 25 to 1. So before, I know you haven't considered him, but the fact that you've thrown 7 horses into the place accumulator suggests that any kind of result can be expected. Your comments firstly about number 5, Hawkbill. Course form looks good, distance form looks good, cheek pieces on. Is this going to help?
I knew you were going to go to Hawkbill, Graham. Well, look, Lucky Hudalakis has got 3 runners in the race. He's got Stable, Elect, Craig Zaki on number 1, Master Christmas. I don't think Raymond Danielson was a candidate to ride number 15, Total Surrender. 55 kilos is a stretch for our good friend Ray. Hawkbill is impossible to trust, Graham. If he won, I wouldn't be blown away. And I think this is the type of race where punters would be inclined to include the field. But he's an impossible horse to follow. I remember I was at Teffontein on the 15th of November when he won, when he came back to winning ways. And I told the story on this preview show before. I bumped into Lucky Hudalakis afterwards because Lady Fallon won a minor feature that night. And I said, Lucky, what were you thinking with Hawkbill? He said at the 1,000 he was retired, at the 800 he was retired, at the 600 he was retired, and all of a sudden he came towards the outside, out of sight, out of the line of sight for many, and ran them down in one good style. He did pretty much similar the next time as well, when beating Bacchus, and Bacchus an above average 3-year-old. But then again, he's just dropped the bundle. He's impossible to follow, number 5, Hawkbill. Capable of winning and capable of going totally missing are my comments about him. And I don't think a bad draw is a bad thing. Raymond Danielson could be the quirky type of guy to get something out of a quirky type of horse, and cheek pieces can also bring about some sort of improvement. I wouldn't totally write out his chances, but I've got 7 horses already ahead of him in the pecking order, Graham. I suppose, was one more really going to hurt? Probably not. This is my line of thinking. It's an impossible race to gauge. To come out with a solid top choice is It's something I'm not prepared to do because it's such an open race, but my numbers on 1 Master Christmas, 2 Lamu Hull, 6 King's Express, 7 Star Coin, 8 Player, 14 Katsu, and 15 Total Surrender. The horse that I'm most keen on to revolve around my bets in this race is number 7 Star Coin. Alec Laird trains Calvin Habib takes a ride. I've been on side for him for quite a while. Half brother, of course, to Double Grand Slam. Needed his first run back over 1400 meters when beaten by Truth. That form line's worked out very nicely. Probably needed a second run back behind Ikigai. I recommended him on the show behind King's Express on the inside track, but I'm not sure the inside track is his absolute go. And then last time a better start behind Apache Sun. I think that he's just about at his peak now. Little rating drop also going to help his cause. And without saying that he's my top choice, because I promised I wouldn't give a top choice in this race because I honestly don't have one, he's the horse I'd revolve all my bets around in race number 6.
Race 6, as you heard there from Alistair, very complicated, included 7 horses in the place accumulator. We'll recap his place accumulator at the end of the show. Race 7, the first leg of Jackpot 2. A reminder, this is a 10-race program. It's Fillies and Mares divided handicap at the 100 level over 1,400 meters. Let's have a look at the betting. Concentrates around 4 runners. Number 5, Sonic Jet at 28 to 10. Number 7, Pointer at 4 to 1. 9, Destiny of Fire at 28 to 10. And 10, Scars of War at 3 to 1. Now, of those 4, Alistair's thrown in numbers 7, Pointer, and 9, Destiny of Fire into this leg of the place accumulator. Sum it all up for us, Alistair.
Graham, I was a short head away from banking number 9, Destiny of Fire, with a light weight. Valid excuses last time. She should have won her last start behind Gerbera. Gerbera is running all 3 legs of the Wilkebos Drift Triple Tiara. Her rating has taken a hike as a result of some fair runs behind the likes of Fiery Pegasus and Spumante Dolce. I think that she's still got some to come. Number 9, Destiny of Fire, and if she's not in desperate need of the run, trained by De Cox. I think this is the De Cox only runner on the card, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check that. No, they got one later on, the form of Roaming Spirit. But for all these horses that are running on the card, only 2 from Team MDK on the float ride down to the Vaal, and I think that she has got a huge winning chance, and she is my top choice. The reason why I've backed her up with number 7, Pointer, again banging the Alec Laird drum here, Graham, is I think her last run behind Oxalis Gold is severely underrated. Oxalis Gold winning the boys' 3-year-old feature at Hollywoodbets Greyville just a few weeks back. I know the penultimate start behind Sonic Jet. She is held by quite a considerable margin, but she's got a valuable swing at the weights, not valuable enough to turn the form around, but crucially she returned not striding out on that occasion. I think Pointer's got some to come, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her give number 9, Destiny of Fire, something to think about. In the pick 6, I suppose you cannot run away from number 5, Sonic Jet, on the back of a commanding victory from start to finish over 1450 last time out, but I'm definitely in the camp for number 9, Destiny of Fire, this time around.
Destiny of Fire, the top choice. Just amazing how the cheek pieces have turned the form around for number 5, Sonic Jet. If you take out the 2 feature races in the last 5 starts, she's unbeaten in non-feature events, but it is competitive as the betting reflects, and 9, Destiny of Fire, gets the vote from Alistair Cohen. The 8th race, the first leg of the final pick 3. Fillies and Mares 82 divided handicap, 1,400 meters. Again, Alistair's gone pretty wide in this leg. The betting, 1 Blind Ambition, 17 to 10. 2 Mountain High, 28 to 10. 5 Champimpi, 6 to 1. 6 Roaming Spirit at 5 to 1, and 9 Messalina at 17 to 2. Now in the place accumulator, Alistair, you've got all of numbers 1, 4, 5, and 8. So clearly, it's another tricky contest.
Absolutely, Graham. But there's a horse here at 25 to 1 that I think is grossly overpriced, and that's number 8, Golden Aspen. I want to start with her back down the Vaal Straight, which, as we know, is a specialist course. She's got a reasonable record here, but I think the most important statistic, Marco van Rensburg's obviously been out injured for a few months. He's back on board this daughter of Pomodoro, who runs good races on sticky going. I don't know if it's going to come up soft, but it's definitely going to have the sting out of the ground with all the rain that's been in Joburg for the last month or so. And Marco's in her 9 career wins, Marco's won on her 7 times for a heap of places. I think she represents a lot of value here, number 8 Golden Aspen, and I'm loath to let her run loose, even though she's probably better over slightly shorter. I just think there's too much value there, certainly from an each way perspective about number 8 Golden Aspen. But going to those horses that make appeal towards the top of the board, probably the most likely horses in the race. I've got 1, 4 and 5 in my play with number 8 Golden Aspen, hoping she can run into the top 3 and knock a few tickets out. Number 1 Blind Ambition behind Pretty Analia last time. Pretty Analia was no shock winner. She won her maiden in a weak field, to be fair, in eye-catching style. Her form to Give Me Everything stacks up well, because Give Me Everything is now a listed feature winner at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, and she went down to KZN in the start of Champions season and won a good race from an unlikely position where it looked like she was in a spot of bother, but her gears make her look quite good. So if you can run less than a length behind Give Me Everything, although Give Me Everything I still don't believe is the finished article, and she was wet behind the ears when winning on that occasion, I still think that there's a lot of kudos and a lot of credence that you can give number 1 Blind Ambition. She's probably got a little bit more to come. Not a fan of the fact, though, that she was penalised for being a loser last time out. That's one thing that just takes a little bit of wind out of my sails for banging my chest about number 1 Blind Ambition. Number 4 Stormy Sunday, I don't think it was all that bad. Raymond Danielson takes a ride for Robbie Sage. Excuses last time, has been off for a while. Fitness to be taken on trust. This might be a little bit on the sharp side, but coming out fresh, not impossible. That number 4 Stormy Sunday goes well and maybe gets into the mix. And number 5 Champimpi just needed her last run badly. Press On Regardless ran to Hotter Ruby, ran to a rating of about 110 at his penultimate start. So he was a runaway winner at the end of March. A Turfentine was Press On Regardless. Champimpi will be better for the run, and she saves her best for the Vaal as well. So I don't know if she can beat number 1 Blind Ambition, but she'll run a lot better, and I think she's got a top 3 chance.
Race 9, Fillies and Mares 80 divided handicap over 1,400 metres, first leg of the final double. And let's have a look at those quoted in single figures. Number 5, Pearl in a Crown, is at 9-2. Number 6, Princess Ilaria at 4-1. 7, Sigrid Swing, 11-2. 8, Saigon Susie, 15-2. Top of the boards is, in fact, number 9, Tana Marie at 33-10. And number 10, Mocha Macaroon, is at 13-2. So yeah, we have a real typical Fillies and Mares 80 handicap, 1,400 metres, but Alistair's kind of narrowed things down to a toss-up between numbers 5, Pearl in a Crown, and 7, Sigrid Swing. Take us through the race, Alistair, because clearly it's not cut and dried.
No, this is not easy at all. And of all the legs of the place accumulator, even though I've narrowed it down to 2, mainly for budget reasons, this is the one race that I'm a bit uneasy about. I'm hoping number 5, Pearl in her Crown, can do the job first run for the yard, Graham. Do It With Diamonds was a winner over the weekend in a race probably 2 divisions stronger than this. Muzi Yenny's on board. Her ratings come down another £2. I think she's got enough to recommend her going well. 3rd run after a break. I don't think she's all that bad. Plus, she enjoys the Vaal. 4 starts, Bro win in 2 places. She got form to Parisian Walkway. All of those are stabs in the dark, to be fair, because that's 2-year-old form, and Parisian Walkway is obviously quickened into a feature racehorse, whereas Pearl in her Crown's languishing in a Fillies and Mares handicap down the Vaal straight rated 80. But Fani does well with horses. The statistics will show. First run for Fani Broncos, they tend to strike. So there's another bit of food for thought with number 5, Pearl in her Crown, and making a bit of a case for her. Number 7, Sigrid Swing, I'll put her into my play as well as backup, although the race certainly doesn't stop there. I think back against her own 6 after a good run behind Just Vaal. Last time Just Vaal has been on a streak, and a red-hot streak on the half-veld. She's knocking at the door. She's come to hand since her ratings come down to the mid-70s, so she ought to be somewhere in the action on a home course. Obviously, winning doesn't come too easy. Hasn't won in 495 days, but she's now certainly on a workable mark, having run with fillies who are a lot stronger than this. I respect the chances of 8, Saigon Susie, 9, Tana Marie, Marie down the Vaal straight over this distance for the first time. Remains to be seen whether she can back up her good maiden win against weak opposition. I think there's something there with number 9, Tana Marie, but I put her into the pick 6, but be a little bit hesitant as far as making her a win bet in this race, because you'd just like to see her confirm before you're willing to part some cash with her. And 10 Moko Macaroon has to go into the play, especially if Princess Ilaria is on your radar as well, looking for a hat-trick of wins. But I think the handicap has now given her a little bit of a tougher task this time around. So 7 and 5 are the numbers that I'm rowing in within the first leg of the place accumulator, but I'll have sweaty palms on this leg if I get the spot.
So there we go, final leg of the place accumulator for Alistair. It's a toss-up between numbers 5, Pearl in a Crown, and 7, Sigrid Swing. But as he mentioned, there are certainly others who have winning claims. The 10th and final race, due off at 5 o'clock, is a low-grade 74 handicap over 1,600 metres. Number 4, Thunderbird, is at 6 to 1. 7 After Hours is at 6 to 1. 4 Whispers of War is at 5 to 1. And 16 Sail the Sky is at 4 to 1. That's a very weak favourite, with the Apprentice claiming 4. To note that number 15, Kiss of Fire, races with a Cornell collar. So again, the betting is wide open. There are only a few runners quoted in single figures. There's a lot of value to be had. Have you found us a sneaker in the last, including trifectas, quartets perhaps?
Yes, I have. I have indeed, Graham. Look, it's. I don't think your win bet on any horse in this race is well advised here. It's an absolute swirl. It's a mix of pretty useful, consistent form coming into a low-grade handicap. But my sneaker here is a 16 to 1 shot in the former number 3, Eiffel Tower, with Muzieni on board for St. John Grey. I love the last race. It tend to go quite well. His rating has come down from a 96 to a 73. Needed his last run, I'd say, behind Princess Ilaria, which was a trifle disappointing. But form to Master Christmas, who runs a few races earlier against divisions, probably two divisions stronger than this. St. John's obviously got a reasonably strong hand here with After Hours in the race as well. Craig Zaki doesn't often ride for St. John, yet Muzi does the bulk of the riding, and he's gone with number 3, Eiffel Tower. I hope I'm not reading too much into it, but I think there's a lot of value to be had about the son of Patala Palace, who too saved some of his best runs for the Vaal, and I think that he's going to go quite well. If you threw any name at me, Graham, I wouldn't be able to rule them out. I wouldn't be able to say that I do or don't like them. I think punters have just got to go with instinct here when making up their opinions, but I think the quartet is the way to go. But the kicker for me is undoubtedly number 3, Eiffel Tower. Just one other horse that I do want to make mention of before we wrap it up, and that's number 8, Circle of Grace, Marco van Rensburg, up for Cornet Spies. High number draw. By now we'll know if, where the draws are playing and how things are going. Also a slight rating trim, and I think that he's also got some sort of prey of getting into the top 4 in a wildly competitive race.
So there we go, race 10, a complicated race to end off proceedings, a nice quartet race, and perhaps you've got to go pretty wide in the final leg of Jackpot 2. So, as we've mentioned over and over, Alistair's bet of choice is the place accumulator. He opens up with 3 bankers. It's 112 Rand perm. Take it away, Alistair.
So it gets underway at 5 to 1 in this 10-race card at the Vaal on the Tuesday, on a busy week ahead. Banker 1, Desert Cloud, by Banker 3, Quantum Theory, by Banker 9, Inclusion, and then 7 horses in the next leg, maybe 8 in Graham Hawkins' place accumulator, 1 Master Christmas, 2 La Muhal, 6 King's Express, 7 Star Queen, the key horse for me, 8 Player, 14 Katsu, and 15 Total Surrender. And then on Graham's vision, number 5 Hawk Bull also getting penciled into the play. By 7 and 9 points are in Destiny of Fire, with huge respect for number 5 Sonic Jet as far as a pick 6 is concerned. By 1, 4, 5 and 8 Blind Ambition, Stormy Sunday Champimpi, and for me the value in the race Golden Aspen, and then 5 and 7 at the back Pearl in her Crown and Sigrid Swing. And just before we wrap up, it might not be the worst take on a card as open as this to maybe take some sort of place all to come, including some of the bigger prize horses. For example, Star Coin in a field of 17, you'll get 4 places in race number 6, Golden Aspen in race number 8, and Eiffel Tower in the final leg. A nice little place treble for minimum spend, and maybe get you across the line to the end of the month.
Sage words from Alistair. It's all to play for on this 10-race card at the Vaal, Tuesday the 15th of April. A reminder that we recorded the show with Alistair at around 8:30 on the Monday preceding race day. You heard there could be a little bit of rain around, but nothing too serious. As Alistair opened up the show, he said, we've been starved of racing. We've got a full week of racing to look forward to, including a double header, as you mentioned, on Good Friday with Friday night racing at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Thank you, Alistair, as always, for your valuable input, and I trust you have a very successful day at the Vaal and a wonderful week ahead.
Cheers, Graham. Same to you. Same to all the racing fans. It's a good time to be a racing fan now that things have started to settle down. And let's hope it's a good week, because if we do get it right this week with the fields, then we've done very, very well.
That's Alistair Cohen. Thanks for watching. We hope you're back many winners.